The Psychology of the Restless Wanderer, a journey inward. The modern world is one of unprecedented connection, yet it is often characterized by profound, pervasive loneliness. We are constantly scrolling, searching, and striving, but for what? This ceaseless movement, both physical and digital, is a hallmark of the restless wanderer, an ancient archetype that speaks to a deep, unfulfilled longing for meaning and belonging. This isn't just about a desire for travel. It's about a psychological state of perpetual motion, a profound inner disquiet that drives us to continually seek a home we can't quite name. The void of belonging and the call of farsickness. We are fundamentally social beings. For millennia, our survival depended on strong, cohesive groups. Our ancestors found meaning around the communal fire, the center of warmth, safety, and shared life. Everyone had a recognized, vital role. Fast forward to today, and our evolutionary wiring for belonging hasn't changed, but the structures that provided it have crumbled. When this foundational sense is lost, a void opens. The Old English root of wanderer, wandrian, means to move about aimlessly. This aimlessness is a core affliction. The wanderer is adrift, often carrying an intense urge to pack up and leave for an unknown destination, believing the next place, the next job, or the next relationship will finally fill the inner chasm. This restlessness is eloquently captured by the German term Fernweh, literally, far-sickness. It is a deeper, more melancholic state than wanderlust, a profound longing for distant places, driven by the desperate hope of eventually finding the one spot on earth where one truly feels at home. Yet, the paradox is that the wanderer feels at home nowhere, caught in a liminal space, in the world, but not quite of it. The tyranny of insatiable desire. If there is one defining trait of the wanderer, it is restlessness, a constant need to chase the next thing. This manifests externally as serial changes, and internally as a flight into rumination, dreams, and imagined scenarios. The cycle is self-defeating. Once a goal is achieved or a place is reached, satisfaction quickly fades, and the search begins anew ad infinitum. This is a bad infinite, an endless progression that defeats itself. The wanderer is tragically committed to wandering, unable to commit to anything that would require stillness or sustained presence. This frantic search is deeply rooted in insatiable desire, which Eastern traditions often identify as a primary cause of suffering. In Tibetan Buddhism, this state is symbolized by the realm of hungry ghosts. These ghosts are depicted with gigantic bellies but impossibly thin necks and tiny mouths. They are eternally hungry, but can never consume enough to be nourished. This image perfectly encapsulates a wanderer's plight. They often possess everything they need, but they are structured to find satisfaction only in the search and craving, not the possession. The joy fades the moment the object is grasped, leaving a deeper sense of deprivation. The flight from self, boredom, and the gray life. Why this constant motion? The wanderer is fundamentally running from the self. The most terrifying thing for the restless mind is stillness. As the philosopher Blaise Pascal famously stated, man's unhappiness comes from one single thing, not knowing how to stay quietly in a room. We medicate this fear of stillness with endless distractions. Studies have shown that many people would rather subject themselves to electric shocks than simply sit alone with their thoughts for 6 to 15 minutes. We convince ourselves that boredom is the enemy, but the opposite is true. Boredom is the essential, fertile ground for meaning and creativity. When the mind is not focused externally, the brain's default mode network activates, prompting us to reflect. This can bring an initial feeling of unease, a sense that something is wrong. But if we distract ourselves every time this feeling arises, we stunt our inner life and make it impossible to find true fulfillment. This fear of inner emptiness has given rise to the digital wanderer. We numb the inner void with a continuous stream of shallow pleasure, creating online personas, and seeking external validation. This constant comparison and superficial connectivity leads to greater alienation, making the return to reality feel dull and meaningless, a profound sense of inner death, which the psychiatrist Carl Jung called the gray life. The zombie archetype is a chilling, modern reflection of the restless wanderer. Zombies are aimless, mindless, and move in groups but remain utterly alone. They crave brains, or the seed of intelligibility, but are incapable of understanding. They symbolize the contagion of mindlessness and the collapse of meaningful purpose in the modern world. The pivot to the seeker. The wanderer's aimless suffering is, however, a necessary precursor to the inner journey. Not all those who wander are lost, but one must first get lost to find the path. The pain of existential crisis becomes so great that it eventually demands a shift from passive wandering to active seeking. The moment this internal commitment is made, the archetype of the seeker is constellated. The seeker understands that the external world is no substitute for inner experience. The search for the home they long for must turn inward, to the soul. Jung wrote, my soul, where are you? I have returned. I am here again. I have shaken the dust of all the lands from my feet, and I have come to you. I am with you. This is a moment of return, the end of the search for myself outside of myself. The ultimate shift involves moving from fragmentation to wholeness. The seeker embraces loneliness not as a curse, but as a necessary condition for individuality. True growth thrives when each person remembers their own distinct identity. The seeker chooses to suffer authentically, confronting the void and the restlessness head-on. They realize that neurotic suffering comes from fleeing from self-knowledge. Authentic suffering comes from embracing the difficult process of becoming whole. The ultimate realization is a simple one. If you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you. The restless journey of the wanderer finds its redemption in the purposeful quest of the seeker, a pilgrimage not to a distant shore, but to the deepest chamber of the self.